Welcome to a brand new video. Oh boy, the Premier League season has finished, and what a season it has been. So, start of the season guys, I predicted the Premier League table, okay? So today, I'm going through my old predictions from the start of the season, and then we shall see where the teams finished at the end of the season. So basically, it's like a prediction versus reality. So that's the video guys, hit that like button, subscribe if you're not already. Without further ado man, let's start with our first team and let's see how many I get correct this season. First up guys, we have Arsenal, okay? So Arsenal have had a fantastic season. They took Manchester City to the final game of the season to see who won the Premier League. You know what, overall, fantastic season, but like I say, Man City had that game in hand for about 3 or 4 weeks, and that's what played a massive part to this season, okay? It is a step in the right direction, okay? So, at the start of the season, I predicted Arsenal to finish second place, okay? So, they finished in second place. So, your boy got that one correct, okay? So, yeah, let's go, man. Let's flipping go. So, yeah. Next up, guys, we have Aston Villa, okay? So, Aston Villa have qualified for the Champions League for next season. A fantastic achievement, okay? They can be super proud of what they have achieved, okay? But on their final game of the season, they lost 5-0 to Crystal Palace. To be fair, I think Villa were just too happy about the top 4 finish. So personally, I think there was that partying. But anyway, overall, Emery and the lads have had a fantastic season, and they can look forward to, hopefully, a very poor Champions League. That is right, guys. Your boy's a Leicester fan, the East Midlands derby clash sort of thing. So, but anyway, overall, like I say, fantastic achievement. And start the season, guys, I predicted them to finish in 7th place, okay? They finished in 4th place. So you know what? I was only 3 spots off from that prediction. So I'm pretty happy with my prediction right there. So yeah, I predicted 7th and they finished 4th. So next up we have Bournemouth, okay? So yes, Bournemouth was so close to getting like a top 7 finish, but unfortunately the results didn't go their way towards the end of the season. And yeah, you know what? At one point their manager was on the verge of being sacked halfway through the season, and you know what? He pulled out the results and got like 5 wins in a row at one point. So you know what? I think they'll struggle to keep hold of their star striker Solanke next season. But guys, at the start of the season, I predicted Bournemouth to finish in 16th place, okay? And in the end, they finished in 12th. So you know what? Not a bad season for Bournemouth, and they can push on next year and see what they can do. But like I say, it might be without their star striker Dominic Solanke. Next up, let's talk about Brentford, okay? So overall, guys, Brentford had a poor season, okay? They from last year to this year, it's not been good by their own standards, okay? Say Brentford are such a good side, okay? And I just feel like they let themselves go this year. Obviously, Ivan Toney will be leaving, but they have signed a new striker, Igor, I think his name is Igor. And he's a bit of a beast, so he's a full-on replacement for next season. But like I say, I predicted them to be quite high this season, but obviously, yeah, their end of the season, was not great. And so start of the year, I predicted Brentford to finish in 12th place, okay? But in the end, they finished only 2 points above the relegation zone. Quite safe, they did finish the season quite safe from being relegated, but by Brentford standards, not been a good season. But they are safe for next year and they can start again. Next up, we have Brighton, okay? So yes, just like Brentford, they have had a poor season, okay? They signed someone last year who I thought would light up the Premier League, okay? That was Ansu Fati. It's strange, it is mad to think he will not play for Brighton again. Literally, what a poor season he has had. But anyway, their manager has now said he is leaving for next year, but that is next year, so I'll get onto that in the new season. But yes, I thought they will compete again this year for a top 7 finish, okay? And yeah, by Brighton standards, it's been quite a poor season. They got knocked out of the Europa League quite earlier on. So yeah, so that basically set the tone for their end of the season. Okay, start of the season I predicted them to get a top 8 finish. That's right, I got 8th place. And in the end, they finished in 11th place. So you know what, Brighton will come back. Obviously they're in talks now with new managers and stuff like that. Now De Zerbi's leaving. So you know what, it could be quite an exciting time for a Brighton fan, because I do believe De Zerbi, he lost that connection towards the end. Because say Brighton did lose a few games, and I think their manager knew he was set to leave. So yeah, that is a shame. This next one, guys, I've made a bad mistake for this one, okay? Yeah, our next team is Burnley, okay? I predicted them to finish in 14th place. That is right, I predicted them so high at the start of the season, down to the fact, obviously, they've signed all these new players, like, you know, they're saying James Trafford and stuff like that. Company done well for them as manager, and I thought, you know what, they could have a good season, but it turned out not to be a good season. So yeah, I did predict these a little bit too high, but obviously I went with what I thought. So anyway, yeah, as you all know, Burnley got relegated. They finished in 19th place, and I predicted them to finish in 14th. So you know what, that is a poor one from me. And anyway, let's move on. Next up, we have Chelsea, okay? Chelsea's season has been such a strange season, okay? So, start of the season, I predicted them to finish in 10th place. That is right, guys. I put Chelsea to finish in 10th, okay? And you know what? All through the season, they have been pretty poor. But the last 2 months or so, like 8-9 games left, they've really come on, okay? And you know what? Pochettino was on the verge of being sacked again because, you know, the fans did not like him, but he has turned it around, okay, and they finished in 6th place. Okay, so that's a Europa League spot for next year, considering how low they were at the start of the season. They were literally like 14th and 13th in the table at one point, and yeah, to get a top 6 finish in the end, it has worked out quite well. So you know what? Fairly good season for Chelsea in the end, okay? In the end, they got there. They got a Europa League spot next year, and you know what? No, Europa League is such a big tournament to win, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, they finished in 6th place. I predicted them to finish in 10th, so I wasn't far off from that one either. Next up, we have Crystal Palace, okay? So, Palace had a very poor start to the season, okay? Roy Hodgson and stuff like that. You know what? They were on the verge of being relegated, but they brought in a guy called Oliver Glasner, okay? In their last 5 games of the season, they won 4 and drew 1, okay? So at the start of the season, guys, I predicted them to finish in 15th place, okay? And they ended up finishing in 10th, guys. So yeah, what a season, man. Mateta, Eze and Elise bossed it with their new manager, and the way they play football now is quite exciting. So you Palace fans have something to be excited about next season, because trust me, you're going to have a very good season. Okay. Next we have Everton, okay? So at the start of the season, I predicted Everton to finish 1 place above the relegation zone. That's what I got, Everton to finish in 17th place, okay? You know what? With all their point deductions this season, they have still somehow survived for yet another season, okay? So you know what? They did win a few games towards the end of the season, and that has really helped their chances of survival. And in the end, they finished in 15th place. So you know what? They were safe next season. Despite all their point deductions, I think it was like a -10 altogether, they still somehow survived to get in the Premier League. So yeah, well done to Everton, man. So for this next one, yeah, for the next one, we are predicting Fulham, okay? And at the start of the season, I predicted them to finish in 18th. That is what I put them to be relegated this season, okay? And you know what? Midway through the season, they were fighting for a top 7 finish. But unfortunately, they just dropped down the table slightly, okay? But in the end, they finished in 13th place. When I did these predictions, yeah, I just thought Fulham did not strengthen their squad enough for this season. But they brought in some new players, you know, literally in the January transfer market as well. And they've done quite well, you know. They finished in 13th. And not a bad season, to be fair. Marcus Silva is a very good manager, and they can keep him for next year. sign some new players, you know, they could end up having another good season. So yeah, start the season, I put them to be relegated and they ended up finishing 13th. So fair play to Fulham right there. Next up, we have Liverpool, okay. So all the way through the season, Liverpool were fighting for that Premier League title, Klopp's last title, okay. And towards the end of the season, they flopped, okay. They lost that momentum and they failed, okay. So at the start of the season, guys, I predicted them to finish in 5th place. So yeah, out of the top 4 basically. But obviously, up to like the last 6 or 7 games, they were fighting out for a title. But in the last 6 or 7 games, they just could not keep up the pace, okay. And obviously, Klopp has left right now, so this has put Liverpool's future on a massive doubt, okay. They've just signed Arne Slot. I don't know much about him. I know he's a Dutch manager. We'll see what happens with him. But Liverpool need a rebuild for next season. But anyway, yeah, so I put them to finish 5th and they ended up finishing in 3rd. You know what? Quite a good season in the end, but they just could not keep up the pace with Man City and Arsenal. Next, we have Luton Town, okay. So yes, as you all know, guys, Luton did get relegated. At the start of the season, I put them to finish dead last. That is why I got Luton to finish in 20th place at the start of the season, okay. And you know what? I thought I'd been a bit too harsh on Luton, but they actually fought really well in the Premier League. But obviously, just didn't have the players to compete towards the end, okay. But they had a very, you know, I wouldn't say good season because they got relegated, but they did better than what most of us expected. And you know, they were fighting for the ball, they were fighting for the wins, and that is all you can ask for from a Luton perspective, okay. So they ended up finishing in 18th place, so not dead last. So you know what, Luton will bounce back. But now they've got experience in the Premier League, they can go on that experience now and start again. But you know what? I really hoped Luton survived this season. Just a little bit too late for them. But anyway, overall, I was happy to see them in the Premier League and they deserve to be back next season. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I got them to finish in 20th place and they ended up finishing in 18th. So our next team is Manchester City, okay. So at the start of the season, I predicted them to finish in 1st place. I was right, guys, I predicted Man City to win the league. Yet again, they've won their 4th title in a row. And boy, yeah, well, what a season they've had, by the way. What a season. They've got so many amazing players. But that's what I can say, guys. I predicted them to finish in 1st and they finished in 1st. So yeah, so that's 2 correct scores for me right now. Next up, we are talking about their Manchester rivals. That is right, we are talking about Man United, guys. At the start of the season, I think I got them to finish in 4th place, okay, and they finished in 8th place, okay. And you know what? It turned out to be a very poor season, okay. They also in the FA Cup final as I'm filming this. So you know, apart from that, it's been a very poor season because obviously now they've missed out on the Europa League. But I think if they win the FA Cup, they can still get the Europa League next year. But I can't see it, God. They get Man City in the final, okay. And you know what? It's turned out to be awful because there's no Champions League football, no Europa League football. Their manager is so unpredictable. He needs to leave, guys, Ten Hag, for next year because I believe he's not the right man for the job. We'll see what happens. But overall, they've missed out on Champions League and Europa League. So, not a very good season. Next up, we are talking about Newcastle, okay. So, I predicted them quite high this season because obviously they had a fantastic season the year before, getting Champions League football and stuff like that, and they, you know, they looked like a massive unit at the back and stuff. But at the start of the season, I predicted them to finish in 3rd place, okay, and it wasn't quite as good this year, okay, and it ended up finishing in 7th place. Yes, they've got a Europa League for next season, okay, but from last season, it's been a massive drop off. But like I say, they've got a Europa League football, and that is all you can ask for. So you know what, Newcastle still going in the right direction, but we'll see what happens with them. Next up, we are talking about Nottingham Forest. That's right, at the start of the season, I predicted them so high this season, man. It's unreal. I predicted Forest to finish in 13th place. I just thought, down to all the fact they've brought all these, you know, world-class players, I thought that they'll have quite a good season, but it turned out to be not so good, okay. Yes, like Everton, they got points deducted. They ended up finishing in 17th place. So they survived. That's the main thing. But yeah, overall, it's not been a very good season. They've got rid of a manager. They've got Nuno Santos in there. I don't think he's good enough. But you know what? They survived again for next season. Considering their point deduction, they still survived, and that is really nice for. And I guarantee they'll sign a lot more players in the new season. Next up, we are talking about another relegation side. It is Sheffield United. And okay, at the start of the season, I predicted them to finish in 19th place, okay? And yeah, it has been an awful season, okay? And for the first time, I think it's like 40 years, they have conceded the most goals in the Premier League. 104 goals, I think it is. 104 goals, 101 goals. Over 100 goals, guys, they have conceded this season. And to be fair, that is just not good enough, okay? They were, to me, Sheffield were just not ready for the Premier League this year, okay? And at the end of the day, they finished in 20th place, dead last. They literally had so much to do, okay? And yeah, you know what? They were not ready for the Premier League this year, and it proved it, okay? They were absolutely dreadful this season. Next up, we have bottlers Spurs, okay? So at the start of the season, Spurs were fighting it out for a title, okay, but that soon went down, okay. So at the start of the season, I predicted them to finish in 6th place, okay. You know what, pretty good prediction for me, because they actually finished in 5th place. So I was only 1 place off. But like I say, they were fighting for a they were fighting for a title, okay, and within the first 10 games, they flopped, okay, and obviously they did not perform very well in the last 2 months or so. So they dropped down to 5th. They've got Europa League football, and that is, that is quite generous considering how poor they've been in the last last 10 games or so. But you know what? Like I say, it's still another trophyless season for Spurs, but they've got Europa League football, and that is something they can look forward to next season. Next up, we have West Ham, okay. So at the start of the season, I predicted them to finish in 9th place, guys. That is right. And they finished in 9th place as well. So you know what? That is 3 teams correct, okay, for the whole season. I am pretty goddamn happy with that. And you know what? Let's roll on for next year as well, because my boys at Leicester are back in the squad. But anyway, West Ham finished in 9th. They've missed out on the Europa League football. Again, just like Spurs, they were playing really well, and then obviously they dropped down the table a little bit. Obviously now they're losing David Moyes for next season. We'll see what happens with them. But obviously losing like Declan Rice and stuff was a massive loss for them. And yeah, you know what? They finished in 9th. Not a bad season, but they don't get any Europa League football for next year, and that will, that'll be a massive loss considering they had quite a good Europa League this year. We are down to the final team, guys. It is Wolves, okay. So at the start of the season, I predicted them to finish in 11th place, okay, and in the end they finished in 14th. So you know what, again with Wolves, they were having such a good season. They were so close to getting that top 7 finish, but like I say, just like most of the teams below, they just failed their last 7 to 8 games, okay, and they've dropped down that table, okay. But they are in talks to sign Gary O'Neill yet again for another season, and you know what? They did so well at the start of the season, but they flopped, okay. And I'm quite surprised they're going to offer him a new contract. But you know what? If they get settled with a new manager, they can push on. You know what? Wolves have such a good side, okay. They're all Portuguese players, and they're such a good side to watch. But towards the end of the season, they did flop, and that is why they finished in 14th. And there we have it, guys. That is my reacted to my Premier League predictions and how it actually ended. So if you liked the video, guys, hit the like button, subscribe if you're not already. This will be the last prediction video now until I predict the table again before the start of the season. So let me know down below in the comments, what do you want to see? I've got reactions coming out, I've got a vlog coming out soon, and yeah man. But anyway, let's all enjoy the Euros right now, and come on England. But anyway guys, thank you for watching this whole Premier League journey this year with me, predicting each match, game week and stuff. So anyway, Thank you for watching the video, guys. I'll see you for the new Premier League when it starts. So thank you for watching. Good, and good night.